Hello and welcome. My name is David Macon. Today I'm going to talk about one of the more difficult parables, the parable of the unworthy servant. Imagine, if you will, that you have a child and they're up, you fed them, they've had their breakfast, and you tell them, go to your room and make your bed. And they go to the room and they make the bed, and then they come back and they say, hey, I made my bed. But I saw some toys were out and I went ahead and put away those toys as well. You would be pleased because they went beyond what the minimum, make the bed, and saw some other things that needed doing and did them. In the parable of the unworthy servant, this is what Jesus is getting at. In Luke 17, 7 through 10, we find Jesus speaking directly to the disciples. He asks him, suppose one of you had a servant plowing or looking after the sheep. Would he say to the servant when he comes in from the field, come along now and sit down to eat? Would he not rather say, prepare my supper, get yourself ready, and wait on me while I eat and drink? After that you may eat and drink. Would you thank the servant because he did what he was told to do? So you also, when you have done everything you were told to do, should say, we are unworthy servants, we have only done our duty. By our modern day standards, that seems to be the pretty harsh assessment of how it should be. Let me stand this on its head, though. Imagine, instead of the able-bodied servants that we imagine doing the work out there plowing and tending sheep, instead we have someone who was weak, maybe lame, who could barely do the work. And what they were assigned to do was just as much as they could do. Kind of turns the whole parable upside down on its head. Because you see, God doesn't need anything that we can do. He doesn't need anything, any chore we can do. It's not for God's benefit. It's for our benefit. There's nothing we can ever do, and this is going to be hard to hear, but there's nothing we can ever do that we can become worthy. So if we think by doing the religious stuff, that going to church, this, just doing the minimum, even going beyond that, we can somehow earn what God has given us freely, we're wrong. We'll never be worthy. What we have to watch out for is that complacency. I do this, I do this, I do this, I do A, I do B, I do C, therefore I should be okay, I'm under grace. No, we should always be striving to do the things that Jesus has told us to do. Christianity is not a passive religion. Christianity is not passive worship. We don't just sit there and get told things. We are expected, and we see this over and over in the New Testament, to go out and do the things that Jesus has told us to do. Not to sit and talk about them, but to act. When we are acting and doing the things that Jesus did and doing the things that Jesus told us, then we're going above and beyond the minimum. I struggle and I question myself daily. Am I just doing the minimum, or am I trying to go beyond what the minimum is asking me? And the minimum is love the Lord with all your heart, all your mind, all your strength, and all your soul. And the second of them is like this: love your neighbor as yourself. If you're loving your neighbor as yourself and you're loving God, then you are constantly helping others, talking to others, and sharing Christ with them. Thank you, and blessings.